It's Monday. On Mondays, we do tier lists. And on Wednesdays, we wear pink.
I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
No, I just have a lot of feelings.
Okay, go home.
Hello, everybody. Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw. And we are live with this week's tier list, our tournament tier list. So we've been seeing the Pokemon Unite Asia Championship, Asia Champions League, not championship, Asia Champions League. I've also played in a tournament myself. I've seen what NA's kind of bringing to the table. I've seen what EU's bringing to the table a bit. I haven't got to see every region inside the game, but this is about what I have been noticing is happening in a lot of these tournaments. I got to see India and Southeast Asia early today. I saw Southwest Asia earlier in the week. So I'm getting a good idea of what's being picked, what's being banned, what seems to be a very, very high value Pokemon inside of a tournament. And that's what we're going to go over today. I've got the chat up here that will undoubtedly freeze. There's no question about it. But until it does, we are here with all of you wonderful YouTube members and viewers. Let's get our tier list started here. Our tiers, we have our God tier. We're only gonna have one Pokemon in our God tier. We're not freaking Norse around here. This is the Pokemon that I think is doing the best inside of this. We have our S tier banned list. So these are Pokemon that I think are completely broken and amazing, but get banned out constantly. We have our S tier played list. So these are Pokemon that are not getting banned out maybe as much as some of the others, and I think are crazy good. We have our A tier picked a ton and is good list. Our B tier. Yeah. Had some technical difficulties earlier and still got the B tier, so what are you gonna do? We have our C tier, not seen so much tier, and then our Decidueye Memorial tier. These are Pokemon that I haven't seen at all competitively. It doesn't mean there isn't a place for any of these B, C, and D tier Pokemon. It just means we're not really seeing them a lot. And because of that, I think, you know, there are some arguments as to whether or not they are that valuable in this current meta. Let's start, I mean, you start with picks and bans, right? So let's start with a ban that probably everyone expects, and that's Sableye. Sableye is getting banned out just about every single game that you run into in Pokemon Unite. It's crazy good and crazy difficult to deal with. I think more than this Pokemon even being good, it's that it's just so dang frustrating to deal with. That's the thing. It's not even that it's the best, it's just... And it is kind of the best in some ways, especially if you know how to play it, especially if you know how to... You can basically not get punished for invading. You can single out enemy carries so they can't do their job. You can send entire teams back to base. It's like one of the most frustrating... No, sorry, let me correct myself. Sip of coffee. I need to get my head straight because I almost called Sableye one of the most frustrating Pokemon when it's by far the most frustrating Pokemon they have ever made. And without question, no one wants to play into it. It's so frustrating to play into, even if it doesn't have the highest win rate, because when it gets through, I'm not saying it wins every single game, but it's just crazy, crazy impossible to play against. Sableye is banned constantly. Let's move on from something that is not banned, but something... Maybe let's bounce around the tier list a little bit. Where do we want to go? We started with a supporter. Let's play around with supporters. Eldegoss. I think Eldegoss is doing really well. I actually see it picked a good amount, and it's not banned out at all. So there was one team I think that kind of banned it in India maybe, and there was another team that was first picking it in India. I think it's not an S tier Pokemon currently, but it's actually one of the better choices inside the game. The nice thing about a pick and ban phase is it actually takes a Pokemon like Eldegoss and it raises its effectiveness so much, because if you ban out Blissey or something like that, all of a sudden, you know, you're looking at one of the best supporter choices once again, and I'm seeing a lot of Eldegoss, and it's doing very well. Let's take a look at another supporter. Blissey is one of these two. It does get banned, but it's not outright banned constantly. I'm going to put it as S tier played right now. It's played a lot. It's so freaking good. It's just... Yeah, it works in so many comps. Yeah, S tier played, I'm seeing in the chat. Yeah, I don't see it banned as much as I see something like Sableye. It's just really great. And especially if you're seeing, you know, tanky Pokemon. I saw a couple matches with Tyranitar and Blissey. And that combo, even, you know, top tier, best teams in the world competitively, it is disgusting. Disgusting. All right. Our next supporter on our list, Mime, S tier played. You don't see, I haven't seen a single Mime ban, I don't believe, but I see it played all the time. It's an amazing tank. I see both Power Swap and Barrier played. I think it's unbelievable. It's weird because it's a supporter, but it's very different from Blissey and Eldegoss in that it's just, you know, fully tanky and also crazy good damage, and its Unite move is one of the craziest in the game. Mime is doing very, very well still, very well competitively. Really, really solid here. Let's see who's next. Wiggly. Wiggly, I would say, is C. I can't even say it's B because I really don't see it played. If it was played more, maybe it was B. And I actually don't think it's bad. I just don't see anyone picking this Pokemon up right now. I think it's down in the C tier. That being said, like I was mentioning earlier, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's not getting a lot of play. So I think it's actually probably a bit better than its placement is, but it's really not getting a lot of play competitively. So it's hard to fully say how it plays into some of these comps because it's just really not getting picked up. Let's see. Hoopa. Not seeing much Hoopa play. I think there is room for Hoopa, but I'm not seeing Hoopa. Now that the ending objective is a lot more similar to Zapdos than it used to be, I think Hoopa actually starts to get some value once again, but it's just definitely not being picked. I don't think it's D tier. I actually think all these supporters have really good value. You're just kind of getting beat out. You know, you only have so many slots, and Eldegoss is just mean right now. Our next supporter is... Who am I missing? Clefable. Clefable is actually doing better than people thought it would, I think. I hesitate to put this higher. I will say I watched the Floatstone Invitational, which had a lot of the best NA teams and one of the best teams in the world in EU, and they were playing Clefable and winning with it. I think the Draining Kiss build is actually doing a lot better than people initially thought it would. So I think this Pokemon's good. I hesitate to put it A. You could, but it's not getting picked a ton, which is what's going on in that tier. Is picked a ton and is good. B tier is maybe closer to this Pokemon should be getting played a bit more. I think B is a fair place to put it right now until we see some more teams pick it up and maybe have some success with it. All right, we've got all of our supporters out there. Let's move through. All right, let's move through some speedsters. Let's start. So I'm going to start with Dodrio. I am not seeing Dodrio banned at all. I am seeing it played, and it is a very, very powerful Pokemon inside of this meta currently. I would say it is an S tier choice. It's close to A tier, but it's picked a ton and it wins games. I think Dodrio is a really, really solid S tier played Pokemon. You see it on a lot of top teams, and it's great. It KOs and it scores. And if you play it right, it rips. It has some good counters. So I do think there are some comps that are actually countering Dodrio, but I think it's doing really, really well. Talon. Talon, you're not seeing so much. I don't think it's D tier bad. You don't see much Talon. I saw a little of it earlier. I don't think it has much of a place. I don't think it's like 0%, you know? Ooh, it has... a 61.9% win rate and highest picked in the Floatstone tournament. I think Talon's not D because I think if you play Fly Talon, you can actually get some value, but it's low. Talon's low right now, for sure. Let's find our next speedster. Zeraora. Zeraora is probably D. I don't know. Why would you ever put Zeraora on your team? I just can't think of a situation someone would pick Zeraora outside of just full on. I mean, yeah. I don't know what you do with it. Is anyone? I haven't seen anyone playing it at all. I'm not saying you can't win with it, but I don't see anyone playing this Pokemon at all. This is a tournament tier list, Zoran. So this is like the top players, what the top players are playing. Absol, I don't see much. I'm gonna not put it D right away, but it's low. Absol's low. You don't see it. I don't see it at all. Maybe it's better than people think. I think maybe after its recent nerfs, people are just walking away from it. It probably has more value than we're seeing, but no one is playing it. It was played 3 times in Floatstone and won once. There you go. So very, very low pick rate, low win rate on Zeraora there. Maybe it has more value than people are finding, but I don't think so. Not right now. Zoroark. I think Zoroark is not good. I think Zoroark is not good. Tournament-wise, honestly, I'd put a D. Tournament-wise, I don't know why you'd ever play that Pokemon in a tournament. It's just crazy. I'm probably being too harsh. It's probably C, but Zoroark is just not in a good spot. Honestly, it's so bad late. It's so bad late, and they nerfed it. So now, what it used to be. We've talked about this before, 0% win rate in the tournament. What it used to be was crazy good early, not so good late. Now it's, I don't know. I'm keeping it D. I think that Pokemon is rough. But here's the thing that happens with Speedsters. Speedsters always do this, where they're the worst, and then they get a buff, and they're completely broken. They're the hardest class to balance, except apparently Little Gentleman right here. Let's see, our next Speedster. Are we missing one? I know it's a small category. Is that all of them? Gengar. I never see Gengar, but I don't think it's as bad as the other two. I think Gengar is probably C. I never see it, but I actually think these 3, Talon, Absol, Gengar, I think they have more value than Zoroark and Zeraora. I mean, maybe, but you never see them. You literally never see them competitively. So I have to assume that just no one's finding a way to deal with them. This is a tournament tier list jump. Let's see. Moving on. Those are all of our speedsters. We can do our all-rounders. Well, why not? S tier banned is Urshifu. Urshifu is probably the most broken Pokemon in side of Pokemon Unite right now. Besides Sableye, they're kind of both in this weird broken spot, and they also both get crazy amounts of bans. Wicked Blow is the most unbelievably broken move inside of Pokemon Unite. Water Bear, like if you had to put Water Bear on this list, which we also have a place for Water Bear, it's D tier. But Urshifu with Wicked Blow, I think, is completely broken, and so do all the top players because they ban it constantly. Constantly banned. It is from the chat, Rocky Star says ultimate secure move. It is the ultimate secure move, and not only is it ultimate secure, you also somehow take no damage using it. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. Next all-rounder to make the list, Garchomp. I don't see Garchomp get played, but it's not D tier. I actually think Garchomp might be better than we think, but no one's playing it. Garchomp is not too bad right now. I think it's actually reasonable, and I've seen Ascendance, I think, running it and not doing too bad with it. It might be even B, honestly. But I don't see much Garchomp played most places. So, let's see. Lucario, A tier, maybe even S. Lucario is still really good. I was seeing a lot of Lucario in the tournament. It's very, very good. I was watching Bulby run Lucario in the Floatstone tournament, and Power Up Punch Lucario is still a very, very legit option inside this meta. It inches up towards S. It's very good. I think if you know how to play it, it's very, very good. Next all-rounder, Charizard. I don't see it all. I don't know if it's D tier bad, but I don't see it at all. I think they really ruined Char. I mean, it's just rough. It might be D tier bad, honestly. I think the nerf is just so bad for this Pokemon. It's either D or C. It's hard to say, but yeah. I could see D or C. I can't even argue with it. I think C maybe because of its Unite move, but I can't argue with it. It's not doing well at all right now. This has not seen much. I haven't seen it at all, honestly. Next all-rounder, we're gonna go with Machamp. Is probably B. I don't think it's bad. I think it's all right. Not seeing it dominate or anything like that, but I'm also, when people pick it, they have some decent play with it. I think it's doing pretty well. I've seen it a few times here and there. Probably not as high as a win rate as, Urshifu or something like that, but I actually think Machamp's doing okay tournament-wise. It seems like people are still playing it from time to time, and it's going well. Azu, I'd say, is A tier right now. Let me tell you this. India loves Azumarill. India loves Azu right now. And they were literally, I was watching games where they would first pick Azumarill, which to me is bananas. I don't even understand that play, but fair enough. They're first picking it, and I like the Pokemon. I don't think it's first pick potential, but they are first picking Azu, and it has a lot of value there. I think in general, I mean, it's a great Pokemon. It evolves at level 4, but I think it's definitely not S. However, you know, when you see metas from all over, you see some places where it's like not doing that well, and then some places where it's kind of dominating. So right now, I think it's still in the mix as an important Pokemon. Floatstone, it had a low win rate, 18%. So apparently over here in NA, people are not feeling Azumarill the same way, or it's not winning the same way at least. Our next all-rounder, Zarina, A tier for sure. A tier. I can't say it's S. It doesn't feel like it's as broken as it used to be, but Zarina's still very, very good. And I'm seeing teams pick it. It's great. Its Unite move's great. It fights better than most Pokemon in the game. Zarina's a really, really good Pokemon, I think. Really, really good Pokemon. Yeah, the resets are silly. It's just super solid. Super, super solid. Dragonite. Dragonite, I think, is sneaky. And I'm going to say it's sneaky A. It might be B, but I was watching, I think it was Southwest Asia, playing Dragonite, and honestly, this Pokemon is doing really well still. Tournament-wise, it's doing really well. And then I hopped in and I was playing it in solo queue. You know, with Rapid Fire Scarf, this thing is kind of gross. It's just kind of gross. It already was kind of gross, but with Rapid Fire Scarf, it's just kind of, yeah, kind of cool. Where are we at? What other all-rounders? Aegislash, still doing really well. I think it's A tier. Didn't see it much in NA EU, but I saw it a ton in other regions, and I think it's really solid still. I think Sword's doing really well. I think it's doing really well. It used to be kind of broken, and I think it's still doing well. Very, very good. Buzzwole is probably C. I don't see it at all. It might have some usefulness that we're not seeing, but teams aren't running it. That's for sure. Teams are just not running this Pokemon. So if there are a lot of people who always tell me like, no, Buzzwole, like I'm really good with Buzzwole. And these are professional players who are really good. And I believe them that they're good with Buzzwole. Why is no one running it? Like no one runs it. So I think it's actually got value, but no one plays it. No one's playing it. Let's see. What other all-rounder am I missing? Oh, Scissor Scyther. So I don't know where to put this exactly. It's not banned. It's S tier for sure. We don't have Scyther on this lineup, but it's S tier without question. So it's one of the best Pokemon inside the game for sure. And especially Scyther. Scyther is just one of the craziest things. And Scissor actually has a lot of value. Teams are picking this early a lot. All right, so there is Scyther, Scissor. Both are really good. If you're just looking at Scissor, it's probably A or B. And if you're looking at Scyther, it's S tier for sure. All-rounder Tyranitar is A or S. It's probably A. But I'm seeing some teams destroy with it. I didn't see much of this at all, NA, EU. But man, when you have a team get Blissey T-Tar, it's so freaking good. It's so freaking good. I really want to see T-Tar run into some, like, top NA, EU teams. But I think A is fair. I only really saw it dominate one region. So I need to see how it kind of shakes out against others, but well, it had an 85% win rate at the Floatstone, huh? Dang, and it was crushing it earlier. You know what? I think if a team knows how to play it, I think it still might be S. It's just not played that much. Ooh. I think I might S. I think I might say it's S. I think I might. That win rate information kind of kicks it over the top, and I watched it win all morning. It needs a comp around it, right? But everything needs the right comp. Okay, those are all of our all-rounders, right? I didn't miss anybody. Okay, let's move on to our defenders. Attackers are last. There's so many of them. Let's move on to defenders. Slowbro getting picked a ton and is good. A-tier Pokemon for sure. It's kind of one of your picks if you don't get one of the more broken tanks. I think Slowbro is still incredibly good. Incredibly good. Bro's doing great. Its Unite move's amazing. I think Surf is still the play, but there are some comps you could definitely run Scald into. It feels like it is a little outclassed by a couple other defenders, but yeah. Crustle, I never see it. I have to put it in the D tier. I literally don't see it ever. I think it's actually got more value than people play it as, but if no one's going to play it, I can't say that this Pokemon has a ton of value. Literally no one will pick up this Crustle, and I love it, but no one will play it. Snorlax, easy S tier, never banned. I've not seen Snorlax banned at all, I believe. It might have been banned a couple times in the Floatstone tournament because they have a different ban system, but it's never banned, almost always played. One of the best Pokemon. I mean, it's crazy good. It can invade. It's just crazy good. They banned it in Asia. There you go. It's so good. Honestly, Snorlax is so good. But rarely do I see a ban for this Pokemon. Blastoise, I don't see it all. I can't put it down in D tier. I'm just not seeing it. Not seeing people grab Blastoise. So, got banned twice. There we go. Got banned twice. Good to know. So it is getting banned a little bit. Might be the only tank that actually gets some bans. Mamoswine is A tier. Mamoswine is really good. You see Mamo a lot. So a lot of the tanks are doing well right now. You see Snorlax doing incredibly well. Mime doing incredibly well. Slowbro and Mamoswine also doing really well. I think the thing that keeps it out of the S tier are two Pokemon, and that's Mime and Snorlax. They're kind of, I think they're better than it, but that doesn't mean it's bad at all. I think it's really good. Greedent. I can't put Greedent in D tier, but I don't see anyone playing it. I'm going to put it in C tier because I'm not seeing it played at all, really. I think that Pokemon still has crazy potential. I just don't see people jumping into it. So it is what it is. People are just not picking Greedent. It has a 100% win rate in the float tournament. There you go. I think it's really good. I just literally see no one play it. So Trevenant is same. Trevenant, I also see no one play, so I'm going to put it in the C tier right now. I don't think it's Crustle levels no one play. Maybe it is, honestly. But you never see it played right now. It's just not getting any tank play. I'm not seeing it in any of the tournaments. Let me make my face a little smaller here so you can see that. I'm just not seeing it in any of the tournaments, really. Let's see. What's next? Any other defenders? I think that's everybody before we get on to the attackers. All right. Cinderace. I'm going to put Cinderace in the B tier. I rarely see Cinderace picked, honestly. It just doesn't feel like it's getting its, it's popping into that slot, I guess. But let's see. I don't see Cinderace getting picked. I just don't. But I think it's better than people give it credit for. Let's see what's next. Cramorant. Cramorant's decent. I see it getting picked a decent amount. It seems to have a decent effect on a lot of the games. It's not perfect or anything like that. It doesn't feel like the best slot for an attacker, but I actually think it's doing pretty well. Doing pretty well right now. Alolan Ninetales is another one that is getting a surprising amount of play. I'm going to put it in this weird B tier category. It's actually getting picked a ton. And you know what? I'm going to throw it up into A, which is probably more than how valuable it is, but it's getting a ton of play. A ton of play. It's not that I have no idea why. I know why it's getting a ton of play. It's an attacker that can hang out in path by itself for a while, and then as the game moves on, once you have Dazzling Gleam and Aurora Veil and your Rapid Fire Scarf, you're kind of constantly slowing and messing with enemies, and it's really annoying for certain Pokemon to deal with, like Dodrio, stuff like that. So I actually think maybe A is a more reasonable place. Venusaur, I'm seeing a little bit, and it seems good. A little bit and good, and I think that's B for me. That's B. A little bit, good. Greninja, I'm actually impressed with Greninja right now. I think the big difference maker, the reason people are picking it over Cinderace, and I am personally, from all the matches I've seen, I'm seeing it picked over Cinderace, and it's because of its secures with Surf. That's the big thing, is it secures with Surf. Greninja has that, Cinderace doesn't. But I do think that it's still not S or anything like that. I think there are Pokemon you'd probably rather have. But there are some Greninja mains out there that are doing very well. Pikachu, surprisingly enough, I'm not seeing really any Pika. I'm seeing all A9. So I'm going to put Pika down in the C tier, even though I think it has pretty good value. I'm just not seeing anyone snatch it up. I'm seeing everyone go for A9 instead, probably because of the rapid fire scarf. So yeah, it had a 60% win rate. Greninja did in the Floatstone tournament. Yeah, not seeing much Pikachu. I feel like every time you would have seen Pikachu, you're seeing Alolan Ninetales. That's what we're seeing. Gardevoir. Gardevoir is either B or A. I can't tell if it's winning enough, though. That's the thing I can't tell. Like, I'm seeing it, but I don't know how much I'm seeing it be the reason that they win. It feels like it should be winning more of the games I see, but it is picked a lot. A lot. So it's either A or B. It's either high B, low A for me right now. A lot of my chat's feeling A for this Pokemon. Some of them are feeling B too. Maybe we'll hear some stats. Let's see. 33% win rate, 14% of play. I'll keep it B. I'll keep it high B for now. I think it's really good. It's really good, but it's contesting with a lot of Pokemon for an important role, which is the jungle. Sylveon is, I've seen a few times. It's still pretty good. It's in a very specific slot, but I don't think that makes it bad. It's just kind of this support. It's this weird support attacker harasser sort of thing that I still see a little bit. A little bit. Decidueye is weird. It's not that good, but there are some teams that are very good with it. I'd say it's not that. I don't see it much. I see it a little bit, though. I think Decidueye is either C or B. I just don't see it often, and I think it's easily countered, but I think I'm gonna put it C for now. But teams that are really good with it are really making some great use of it. I'm just not seeing it personally. Not seeing it. C tier. Thank you very much. Duraludon. So this is weird. I have to put it C. No one's playing it. Again, no one's playing this Pokemon. It got just one nerf, two nerfs, I guess, and no one's playing it. I don't see any Duraludon. Once again, Duraludon is completely out of the conversation. I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't see anyone play this Pokemon. So I don't know if anyone picked it up in the tournament. I think the only team that played it was us in the tournament because Bread plays Duraludon. All right. Mew, easy S tier. Sometimes banned. Easy S tier Pokemon. Mew is crazy. Just crazy. Yeah. Mew's gross. It's still so gross. And top teams, tons of top teams play it. It's definitely S. Definitely S. Espeon, I think, is better than people are giving it credit for, but I'm not seeing it much. I'm going to put it B because the few I've seen have done well, but I think I have to put it C. Just based on my own rules, I guess I have to put it C. I actually don't think it's that bad. Yeah, Mew was picked 65% of the time with a 63% win rate. So there you go. I mean, just crazy win rate and pick rate. I think Espeon's pretty good, but I just don't see it often. I don't see it too much. So, Delphox, easy A tier pick for me. You're not seeing it as much as some of the other ones, and I don't think there's as much, there's not as many players who are kind of jumping on the Delphox bandwagon, but I think that Pokemon's really good. Really good, one of the best Unite moves in the game. Broken level 11. It's just, yeah, not doing that well. Pick-wise, I feel like it's getting outpicked by a lot of Pokemon. Glaceon, still really good. I don't see it picked as much, but every time I see it picked, it's still a very difficult Pokemon to deal with. A real contender, I think that Glaceon is. A real contender. So there's Glaceon, A tier for sure. I don't think it's S. I definitely think it is an A tier pick. But every time I see it picked, it's just really useful. Really useful. Our final Pokemon of the tier list is Dragapult. I'm going to set it into the God tier right now. It is not a God tier Pokemon. But our final Pokemon is Dragapult. I didn't see it played much in Floatstone, but I have seen it played a bit. And what I've seen from Dragapult has me Look, I can't say it's S. It's not played S, but I'm going to put it as an A tier choice. I could be a little wrong about this, but I'm actually pretty impressed with Dragapult from what I've seen tournament-wise. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is too high, but I see it. It was not banned in Floatstone from what I heard. I heard it was not banned. It's actually pretty good. And, you know, it really does seem like Dragapult, the Dragon Dance build, is actually seeing play competitively as well, which is friggin' beautiful. So, yeah, it's 19% play with 33% win rate, never banned. So there you go. Not crushing it in the Floatstone tournament. I think there might be more value to this Pokemon. If you wanted to really go at me and say it's probably B tier, I could see that. I'm putting it low A for now. And again, not all of this is completely ordered, but this is about what I'm seeing. So, constant bans from Sableye and Urshifu. Other Pokemon that get banned a lot, I see some Dodrio bans, some Mime bans, Mew bans, and I've heard there's also some Snorlax bans and Blissey bans. But when it comes to bans, it's Sableye and Urshifu far and away are getting banned like every single freaking game I see. And now it's time to decide who our God tier Pokemon is. So how do I decide what a God tier Pokemon is with this tier list? I can't pick. Here's the thing. It is Urshifu, right? But it's banned out too much. Or it kind of is Sableye, but it's banned out too much. I think in some ways, Sableye is the god. Because you can't, you just have to ban it. It's that devastating, you have to ban it. And then there's Urshifu that kind of fills the same role, which is that devastating, you have to ban it. And I want to give the god Pokemon to a Pokemon that is, yes, one of the best, but also not getting insta-banned every time, so you get to see play with it. And if I'm thinking of Pokemon like that, that Pokemon is either Mew or it's Scyther. And because Scyther is that broken, I am going to give it currently to Scyther. I believe Scyther is the god tier Pokemon of this patch. It is without question overpowered, but it's also really hard to ban it out. The other option, of course, is Mew. I think Mew is another great option. Tons of amazing Pokemon inside this, but Scyther is just truly, it's broken. It's OP, broken, dumb. It's too powerful. It's way too powerful, but it's in this weird position where it's not going to get banned because you're trying to ban out other Pokemon. And right now, I think Scyther is God tier or Mew. Of course, Sable and Urshifu are so good that they literally just get banned every game. And now we all get to have a little fun. That's our tournament tier list. And it's the big reason that you're always seeing Dragonite get banned out of all these games. Basically, if you don't ban Dragonite and you don't ban Hoopa, you ban Machamp. So it's this weird place. And then with all of that happening, you see Pokemon like Gengar just skyrocketing to the top. Because it's like, okay, well, if I can't have Dragonite and I can't have Hoopa, I'm grabbing Gengar right away. That's like one of the no-brainer moves that a lot of these tournament players are picking up. Obviously, Sableye, it was getting banned a lot, but people aren't winning with it. Same with Urshifu. So, you know, these Pokemon are kind of dropping down a little bit. But we see the real scary ones. Dragonite, Hoopa, Machamp, always getting banned. Gengar kind of being the best Pokemon in the game right now. Let me know what you think in the comments. However, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. What have you seen in the tournaments? What do you think I got right? What do you think I got wrong? I love you all very much, and I will see you next time. Thank you all for being live here as well while we did this. Gengar is my boyfriend.